We are still 1 minute to go. We had 350 plus registrations, so I'm sure there are people who will join as we go along. For all of you who have joined already on the call, thank you so much for being on time. Really appreciate that. Can I ask you to probably rename yourself by adding the company that you represent? And on the chat, if you can just quickly share if your organization is already using some part of BTP, and if yes, what part of BTP are you already using in your organization or have experience of using in your previous organization? On the chat, please. That will give context for the speaker to kind of understand where you are, and probably when he's talking, you can also tailor some content accordingly. Okay, so we are on the dot. I think in order to respect people who join on time, I think we should start on time. I'm sure people who have registered and who will join as we go along. So let me hit the record button and let's get started. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining on time for the second session in the series, The Art of the Possible with SAP BTP. Last week, we had a BTP overview session where Rajiv spoke about all the different components and what the importance of BTP as a platform for SAP customers and SAP ecosystem. And he also shared about the different functionalities that come together as part of the platform. Now, the second step in the entire journey is to, number one, understand some real use cases in terms of how customers and partners have actually leveraged parts of BTP in order to drive innovation. We also spoke about last time that in order for organizations to be agile and to be able to drive innovation within their organization and to be able to adopt new business models, we need two things, right? So we need a stable core business and a stable core of technology, which allows you then to innovate at the edges. And that's exactly what BTP as a platform enables you to do. So today we have Manjunath Baburao from the SAP Labs India. So what he will do is he will take us through the different components that BTP has and also use cases in terms of how customers and partners have used those parts to drive innovation within their organization, to showcase the agility that the platform can actually enable within the organization as well. So without further ado, Babu, Manjunath, can you just please take it over? Maybe do a quick introduction about yourself and take it over.
Perfect. Am I audible?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Mukesh, for setting that context, and a warm welcome to everyone from my side as well. As Mukesh indicated, my name is Manjunath Baburao. People call me Manju, so please feel free to call me that. I am from the SAP Business Technology Platform Product Management team, and along with my colleague who you met last week, Rajiv, we are also responsible for BTP awareness and adoption for the APJ area specifically, and also we have other global responsibilities across the globe. So this session is, as Mukesh was indicating, is going to be termed as SAP Business Technology Platform, the art of the possible, right? I think the name itself is quite interesting. When you say the art of the possible, we are then talking about what are the opportunities, what are the examples, and what are the avenues that customers and partners can look at for using business technology platform. And we are not just talking about it in thin air. We kind of also then go towards concrete use cases, reference architectures, and also maybe some good customer stories I really like storytelling, so you will also hear a lot of customer stories during my session today, where we will also see how parts of BTP have come together to solve real-world customer problems as well, right? So in saying that, BTP, I think we started off with a very great session the last time in our journey about the overview, and there you already know that what exactly is BTP, what kind of value that it can bring for our customers and partners. But what I really want to do before I get into the details of the exact use cases is maybe have a double click on BTP and its role in SAP strategy, right? I think we already know what exactly is BTP and what are the different kind of value that it can bring from the overview session. But let's also take a step back, and from a strategic perspective for SAP, for you as SAP customers and partners, let us try to look at what role we envision BTP playing, right? So that's the first section that is going to be, which is SAP BTP and its role in, let's say, SAP strategy. You might have seen this strategy diagram also in the overview session from Rajiv. So this is what I always like to call our rising sun diagram, also some connection to the Rise with SAP kind of a picture, where we see that the cloud ERP is at the core of SAP strategy. And at the bottom, we have the business technology platform, both of these coming together as focus areas and also then enabling other activities like the industry specific innovations, sustainability initiatives, separate LOB solutions like our human resource management or human experience management solutions, our customer relationship management solutions with our CX suite, and also our spend management and our business networks, right? So this is what I call the rising sun diagram, which kind of talks about SAP strategy. And there, with the dark blue color, you're already seeing that business technology platform is acting as the foundation or the technology foundation for all of SAP strategy, whether it is the cloud ERP strategy, whether it is the HXM strategy, or the let's say the network strategy, the customer relationship management, and also a baseline for ecosystem innovations and industry-led innovations and sustainability innovations as well. So you see that the business technology platform is playing what we like to call it two different roles. One, it is the platform for SAP, and it is a platform at the same time for customers and partners. Now, what does it mean? And what does this dual role mean? One, because SAP Business Technology Platform is lying at the bottom as the technology foundation for all of the different SAP applications, or what we call as LOB solutions, it provides a harmonized technology foundation and giving capabilities and services which are used across SAP's cloud portfolio, so that whenever you as a customer touch any of the applications, whether it may be SuccessFactors, whether it may be Ariba, or whether it may be S4HANA Cloud, or whether it may be, let's say, an industry cloud solution, no matter what part of the SAP cloud portfolio you touch, you have a similar experience. The entire experience across SAP's cloud portfolio is driven by the harmonization factor, that what we call as suite qualities, which are driven by capabilities and services provided by the SAP Business Technology Platform. Now, this is one part of the picture. That is the harmonization, the let's say the integration qualities. When I say integration, it's not just about the actual integration of let's say A to B, but also the same identity authentication, the same user experience, the same life cycle management, and integration across SAP's cloud portfolio is also something that is driven out of SAP Business Technology Platform. Additionally, what we also see is SAP is coming up with new innovations. You might have heard about SAP's industry cloud solutions. You have heard about our SAP sustainability solutions. We are also coming up with a lot of AI-based business processes. You have heard about our end-to-end scenarios like the source to pay, the order to cash, and all of these scenarios as well. So all of these innovations and cross-cutting SAP Cloud offerings that are coming out of the box. For all of these innovations as well, Business Technology Platform is the innovation platform for even SAP, because like all of the, like we all say, right? Eat your own dog food or drink your own champagne, depending on wherever you're coming from. So we first do this as a first important customer, internal customer. We have our own LOB solutions. Even our IT organizations are one of our big customers internally who are using SAP Business Technology Platform. Now, on top of all of this, we know that the cloud is driven by what is called a standardization, right? So it is more or less something that is catering to 80% of a lot of our customers' needs. So we also know, also from the overview session, that you need an agile platform to kind of complement these cloud solutions for our customers and partners to build integrations, to build extensions, to build analytical solutions, to build AI-driven intelligent solutions. So for that case, we also see that BTP is a platform for you as customers and partners to customize these SAP solutions, to integrate and to innovate however you want to require. Of course, not forgetting the part of the partners that are there. For partners, BTP is also the development platform on which they can bring their innovations and then provide it to the large, vast SAP customer base to be utilized. So once you are on Business Technology Platform and utilizing Business Technology Platform, we have capabilities wherein you can also start utilizing partner or ecosystem innovations on top of this as well. So two different roles. One, it is the platform for SAP, providing consistency, harmonization, and also as an innovation platform. And two, it is an innovation platform for our customers and partners to innovate, extend, integrate, analyze on top. Okay, that is one thing I clearly wanted to call out. Now, this is a diagram is also indicating, not going into too much of the details, but indicating some of what I called as suite qualities, right? I also called out that, let me also quickly bring up the laser pointer. I also called out that there are some consistent integration qualities or consistent harmonized qualities that we expect our customers to have. And our customers also expect this whenever they touch any part of SAP's cloud portfolio. So all of these is what is called as suite qualities. And these 7 suite qualities, like the user experience using the Fiori Horizon theme, or security and identity authentication, which means to say that if you're connected to your corporate IDP using our identity and security solutions, when you move from one SAP solution to another SAP solution, you should have the same user kind of propagated. You should not be asked to re-log in again. The same SSO should work. The user roles should also be equally propagated across solutions if you have maintained it. So these kind of consistent suite qualities is what we are building and providing on top of Business Technology Platform for the entirety of SAP's cloud portfolio. Because we definitely believe that you as customers will become intelligent enterprises only when you have an integrated experience as an enterprise. Now, I did call about BTP being, let's say, SAP's internal innovation platform as well. You see, there's a list of 50 plus already announced. I just want to make that clear, already announced solutions that are out there. There are many more in the works. So you see across, let's say, finance, spend, S4HANA, supply chain management, and the customer experience portfolio, we are coming up with new solutions and applications which are built on the SAP Business Technology Platform, which can complement the existing LOB cloud solutions or the standard solutions that are already out there, right? So here you can see a clear indication that we are not just going out to you as customers and just only telling you to adopt BTP, but we are first doing it on our own and then trying it out, also making it better by becoming a first customer, doing, let's say, a canary like testing internally, and then fixing all of it and give you a quality product at the end of the day. Now, I also spoke about ecosystem innovation. So you also see some numbers here. Like, for example, in our SAP Industry Cloud portfolio, we see that almost 120 plus partner applications have already been built on BTP. on the industry cloud side of the house, and there are 160 plus partner applications which have integrated themselves with BTP and the cloud portfolio that we have at SAP as well. So overall, if you look at where the ecosystem blueprint is on BTP, we have more than 750 plus partner applications which are available for our customers, either already built on BTP or already integrated towards SAP BTP. So knowing all this, I can confidently tell you that SAP BTP should be first in your list when you are thinking of becoming an intelligent, sustainable enterprise and want to bring in any sort of extension or innovation on top of your SAP applications as well. So you see that there are some more details which we will anyway double click on, but to start on the top, right? When you look at business technology platform, we currently look at the capabilities of business technology platform. What can I say? Converged or kind of packaged into 5 different pillars: application development, automation, integration, data and analytics, and artificial intelligence, right? So application development is kind of everything that needs to do with building new applications, extending existing cloud applications. The automation portfolio is to look at how can I make my business processes more optimized, more effective? Can I automate some of my mundane let's say manual tasks that are already there? So those kind of things are what are looked at via the automation pillar of business technology platform. And the integration pillar, like it is at the center of it, is more or less in the heart of every such SAP BTP let's say implementation, or even sometimes an SAP implementation, because that is the solution on top of BTP which can help you to connect different parts of your landscape and simplify your SAP landscape as well. Like I said, you will all see clear-cut examples from customers who are already using this as we go down this session as well, right? The data and analytics portfolio of the business technology platform is, as the name indicates here, is clearly there to give data purpose. I mean, if I repeat the word that this is something new, you might also feel that he is already 5 years behind, but I definitely would want to call it back that data is the fuel, as we have been saying for 4 to 5 years now minimum, that data is very, very important, and every single customer that is out there that we know of and who we are talking to, in one way or the other, wants to become a data-driven enterprise, which means to say they always need to understand what is the data that they have, what kind of insights that data can give, and then utilize that insight to also steer the direction of their company. Last but not the least, we also have an AI portfolio where we can also provide you with some kind of capabilities to infuse intelligence into, let's say, your applications and your business processes as well. Just to double click on the capabilities before I take you to another important part of the picture, that is under the application development portfolio. And I'm not going to go into details of each of these capabilities because, as we saw, the next part of the journey of your adoption journey would include deep dive into many of these individual pillars anyway. So I am not going to go into the capability specific details and how that is realized specifically, but we will rather look into each of these pillars, and we will look at how we as SAP feel there is a typical use case when utilizing these capabilities of this pillar. And then we will also look at a customer case, because you might say, hey, you as SAP, you will always tell us that you can use it like this, you can use it like that. But are there any references? Is there any proof of any customer that is already utilizing it? And in this session, I have kind of made an effort to bring in examples across industries, across geographical locations, for you to give a really holistic picture of how BTP is being used by our customers and partners across the globe, right? So just at a very high level, application development pillar clearly needs to do with let's say development of applications and extensions, right? And there we clearly cater to the entire continuum of skills, of developer skills. So if there are developers who are much more conversant with, let's say, I know ABAP, I know Java, I know, let's say, Node.js, I know Python, can I start coding on a business technology platform? Yes, this is a possibility. But if there are, let's say, smaller customers who don't have their own IT teams, but rather have business process experts who want to build an application on their own, can they use BTP? Of course they can use, because we also have low code, no code capabilities with clear drag and drop kind of functionalities, wherein a business process expert, without the need of a specific IT team, can start building an application which can be then pushed out throughout your company for use by everybody. So that is the application development pillar. The second one, as we spoke about, is the automation pillar. Let's just a little bit of history there. The current automation pillar actually comprises of, if you have been following the SAP BTP's journey, two different kind of capabilities. One, a lot more around workflow management or business process management, or the erstwhile BPM part of the picture, where there is a lot of decision making, rules creation. All of that is coming into the let's say the scope there. But there is also the aspect of RPA, or robotic process automation, which is included. A convergence of these two capabilities is then what is catered to by the automation pillar of business technology platform. The third pillar is integration, like I spoke about. And here, if you are already utilizing our integration solutions, let's say on premises, or if you are using our cloud integration solution as well, you see that our integration solution on the SAP Business Technology Platform is a much more holistic solution, which caters to different kinds of integrations, process integrations, event-led integrations, API-based integrations, integration with third parties. All of this is catered to by the integration pillar. And apart from that, it also caters to different models of integration, like application to application integration, business to business integration, business to government integration. And the integration suite is clearly becoming the go-to solution on the business technology platform. Like how you also saw from the overview session the last time, some examples, the integration suite also has a roadmap of becoming a solution which can cater to not just cloud-to-cloud integration, but also hybrid integration by being a cloud service, but catering or managing ground-to-ground integrations as well. So a hybrid integration suite catering to, let's say, different models of integration, and also having different facets or different kinds of integration supported is what is the integration pillar. Then we have the data and analytics, which is everything to do with managing data, storing data, having data governance on top of it, modeling of data, creating of data, what we like to call the business data fabric, like getting data from across your landscape, not just your SAP landscapes, but also your non-SAP systems, and kind of creating one source of truth for your entire, let's say, enterprise in the data and analytics portfolio. But on top of that, we also have capabilities which can help you do analytics, business intelligence, or even planning kind of capabilities. Last but not the least, there is the AI, where we kind of give you 3 levels of AI, which I will anyway get to in the upcoming slides. Okay. Now, before I get into the details of some use cases and examples, I really want to take a quick detour and introduce you to something which I feel is a great asset for anybody who's starting or even continuing or looking to expand their journey on the business technology platform, and that is the SAP Discovery Center, right? The SAP Discovery Center is a one-stop shop for all of your SAP BTP resources. And instead of me showing a slide and then telling you that it is great, you can find this information, that information, why don't we just quickly do a swap and get into the Discovery Center from our side, right? And try to actually see it in action before we come back to the slides and go to the next part of the puzzle. Okay, I will just try to share my screen. Give me a minute. Can you guys see my screen? No, much. Okay. 1 second. Then now?
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, it's a little slow. Sorry for that.
Now, okay.
Okay, perfect. So this is a must-have tool for anybody who is trying to understand anything about SAP BTP. This is called the SAP Discovery Center. The name is aptly indicative that you can discover everything about SAP BTP by coming to the SAP Discovery Center. Now, this has two different facets. One is more of a services view, or it acts like a service catalog. And on the other hand side, there is also something called as missions. Let's look at it briefly, because I will then also correct this to you as I talk about use cases when I go forward in the next section. So this is very important that I also introduce the Discovery Center before I go there. So first one is the services aspect, right? Now you see that this is a clear-cut first point of entry where you can find everything to do with what kind of services are there on BTP, what are the different kind of capabilities it caters to, does it kind of give you a kind of a free trial kind of an environment for you to try things out. And if you kind of get into one or the other, let's say, service, like let me go to the integration suite, then I can actually see that I get an overview of the service. Then I can get some features of the service. I get, let's say, links to the help portal or documentation pages, interesting links which can already take you to understand the integration suite a little bit better. Some tutorials are also indicated here. Tools are also kind of linked here. We also have, let's say, certificates that the certifications basically that is that the product already has. And if you see on top of this, you can see how the service is priced, what kind of commercial models it supports, what are the different metrics by which the service is sold, what is the pricing or the unit price of this particular service. You can also then, with the estimator tool that we have on the Discovery Center, you can create an estimate of different pieces of the puzzle. Like if I use this much of integration suite, this much of HANA, this much of AI capabilities, what will be my monthly bill kind of stuff you can see here. You can see a roadmap of the service. You can see some specific customer stories of people who have or customers who have utilized this particular service. And the second one is also you can see related missions. Now, what exactly is this missions, which was the other perspectives of SAP Discovery Center? The Discovery Center missions will already tell you, one second. Yeah, will already tell you how you can utilize the service. The service part of the Discovery Center told you what the service is and all details about it. The missions part of the Discovery Center will tell you how to use the service. It is a step-by-step indicator. One second. It is a step-by-step indicator of how you can, a particular service can be utilized. I don't know what happened. You're still able to hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay. Somehow thought that if internet was going down. One second. Yeah. As you see here, we have the SAP Discovery Center missions part of the picture, wherein you can understand how you can get started with a particular service. This is a step-by-step tutorial. If I can get to one of it, let's say I get to simplify connectivity to any application with integration suite, right? There is a sample reference architecture of how the target or the objective can be achieved. There is a project board which can clearly take you through the steps of learning, experiencing it, and then exploring things on your own. And what is more important, the moment you start a mission, we have experts on our side who are monitoring all the customers who are kind of trying out a mission. At any point in time, if you have any kind of questions or you're stuck at any point in time, you have the support a tab also here. And once you log in, you can also create a support kind of an entry in this tab, wherein then mission experts from SAP will also reach out to you and help you to get unblocked on your own, right? So this is a great tool to not just understand what is there in BTP, but also get a clear understanding of why and or how exactly the BTP is being used. And of course, the why is also clear, because for every single mission, we also have a problem statement. And how are we solving that problem statement? By utilizing this particular architecture or the service in a particular combination of services, right? So this is, I feel, a great value of the Discovery Center. Apart from this, there is also, let's say, other, what can I say, other information like where the service is deployed geographically, what kind of data centers are being supported. So all of this is also very clearly available on, let's say, the SAP Discovery Center. So that becomes a great tool for you to kind of try out and have as a, let's say, ready reckoner when you're working with BTP. Now, why did I say that? Let me get into the crux of the session on now looking at, now that we have looked at, let's say, what are the capabilities of BTP, what kind of deep down features or the capability set does it support. Now, we also looked at a Discovery Center, which can give you more information at any point in time. Now, let us get into some of the reference use cases and customer stories for each of these pillars within BTP. I don't know how many of you are, let's say, superhero fans. I myself am a big follower of the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, what happened is we looked at, let's say, the powers of individual, let's say, superheroes. Like we looked at, there is Iron Man, what he can do. Then there is Thor, what he can do. Now, let's start to look at how, let's say, Iron Man can solve a problem. Let's say if there is something that needs to be built, we then have Iron Man kind of being the rich guy, the techie in the group, also always contributing to something, some kind of engineering projects, right? For people who follow this. So like that, let us get into specific use cases for each of these pillars, right? And before I kickstart a use case, I will always quickly show what we call as a architecture diagram. I will actually consciously not spend too much time in explaining the entire architecture, because you will anyway have a deep dive for each of these pillars going forward. But to call out the application development pillar, which is specifically to build and innovate, is comprised of two different parts of the puzzle. One is what we call as the product SAP Build, which takes care of the low-code, no-code capabilities like SAP Build Apps, SAP Build Work Zone, and also SAP Build Process Automation, which is part of the automation pillar. But there is also a big part of the puzzle for pro code development, wherein we are supporting application frameworks like Cloud Application Programming Model, or CAP, the RESTful ABAP Application Programming Model, or what is called as RAP. Then we will get all of the different services like mobile application development, document integration also into the pro code development puzzle, and then give you our IDE, which is the Business Application Studio, a cloud-based IDE for developers to develop and deploy on the technology stack of your choice, Cloud Foundry, Kima, or even ABAP, right? So these are the two, let's say, product pictures that you can see. There is one piece of the puzzle, the low code, no code, which is SAP Build, and then there is the Business Application Studio. Now, why am I giving you the names of these particular entities specifically? Because when I talk about use cases and start utilizing the name of these products, then you should also be aware, which is why I'm quickly touching on the architecture and actually going into the crux of this on what are the possibilities by utilizing this pillar, right? Now, what is a typical use case that is to be expected from the build and innovate part of the picture, right? Major typical use case which we see with a lot of our customers as expected is extension of SAP's own capabilities, whether it is extending the SAP cloud capabilities, whether it is extending, let's say, on-premises capabilities, or building a custom application on the cloud, even for, let's say, the ECC solutions, your S4HANA on-premise solutions. How can we, because keeping the core clean is a very big mantra that we also clearly indicate as a best practice to our customers, right? Which means to say that do not put more and more and more customizations into your core, which then means that whenever you will have to upgrade or really have to change with the innovations that are coming in from SAP, like if you have to move from your ECC to S4HANA, you then have to also always care about, hey, what happens to my custom code? Do I have to take care of it specifically? So as a thumb rule, we always advise our customers to, as much as possible, keep the core clean. And the application development pillar capabilities clearly help in doing that, because using the build portfolio or the ProCode portfolio of, let's say, the SAP Business Technology Platform, you can actually build your custom applications, your innovative applications, which are extending your core on the cloud, and keep it just as a loosely coupled side-by-side extension on top of your core business. So if you decide to move your core to something like an S4, which is in times with what SAP is kind of also providing, you would be able to do that irrespective of the innovation, because at the end of the day, you have a very loose coupling, and the APIs that are kind of connecting or exposing your, let's say, the data or the models that you have on premises, if that stays consistent, then the move or the upgrade of your core to a higher version does also not impact your extension on top, right? So that is a typical use case. Like if you see here, there is S4HANA Cloud, and there is an API for specifically business partner, and which is then exposed via a destination, an OData destination. And we have seen our customers also then utilize these kind of APIs to build quick UI extensions, modernized UIs, which can then also be deployed on mobile devices by using, let's say, low-code, no-code capabilities like SAP Build Apps. Host these applications on the HTML5 repository, which is a repository of UI applications that is also a service provided on BTP, and then expose it to consumers or employees within their company via the SAP Build Workzone Standard Edition, which is like the central entry point or like a launch pad for all of the employees in your company to start utilizing. So if you really want to build an employee application, which you have to give to, let's say, every technician in your company, this is a great reference architecture to kind of also say that I can expose APIs onto BTP, then I can actually create a destination on top of that and use that destination and build a new UI or new logic on top of that by utilizing the data from the backend. And then I can deploy it and expose it via the central entry point so that everybody in my company can start utilizing it. Now, why did I also introduce Discovery Center before? That's specifically because whenever I talk about a particular use case or a typical use case, in the slides that you will also get later, I also have linked the Discovery Center mission that is also clearly accessible to you after this session. So in case you are interested in one or the other use case, you can also then go to the Discovery Center and try it out if you also have the infrastructure in place, or you can reach out to us and then we can help you in the further steps down the line when we go through the adoption journey. You can also use this as a basis to try to understand how these capabilities can come together, right? That is why I introduced the Discovery Center to you and the missions kind of a perspective, so that all of these are also Discovery Center missions which you can utilize. Now, this is, let's say, an SAP's perspective, right? Now, meet PIFPAF Alimentos, right? This is the very latest, and to be very frank, this is one of my favorite, let's say, use cases or the customer stories that has come out in the recent times, right? Now, PIFPAF Alimentos, for people who might have not have heard of it. I mean, to be also frank, it is a Brazil-based, let's say, agri-business company, a food company that is also into food manufacturing. It is one of the top 10 food, let's say, manufacturing companies in the Brazil area, or in the country of Brazil. Now, as a food manufacturer, PIFPAF had this problem that the core of the manufacturing process are the machinery, right? So if the machines are running fine and they regularly have maintenance, and the maintenance guys also get an indicator before the machines kind of fall down or kind of break down, then you can be rest assured that let's say, the manufacturing flow or the manufacturing process does not get broken down, and the end customers are not impacted by a sudden, let's say, stock issues that are coming out of PIFPAF products, right? Now, this was a problem statement where currently PIFPAF technicians who used to go to their manufacturing plants really used to get their maintenance orders on paper. They used to check the machines, do a regular maintenance, and then used to fill a form on how the state of the machine is, what they have changed, what they have done. And then this paper-based input, or the maintenance order and the maintenance, let's say, inventory, or the information about the maintenance, was then on a daily basis. Data was manually entered into the backend or the ERP system to kind of then create a view on how is the maintenance kind of going, what kind of cost it is generating, right? Now, as we can see, this probably is kind of a problem that has come up. I wouldn't say it's a problem. This is how things have been working in many of our companies before. But now, everybody wants to do things better. And PIFPAF also had a top-down guidance around sustainability. They also want to go towards a more paperless process. Now, what they did is they reached out to SAP and they said, what if you at SAP can help us to build an application to kind of resolve this problem of paper-based maintenance orders and paper-based maintenance information, which is then manually entered into our backend processes. How can we make this better, right? They worked with us, worked with our preferred success of SAP as well, and they were able to, using our low-code, no-code portfolio, build an application and go live within 3 weeks and deploy this mobile application to 30 of their, let's say, maintenance personnel, who, as a pilot, or as the first pilot, 30 people were given this, and they already saw that it brought down 30% of all the, let's say, the cost of technician data entry and then uploading it. What this app did is, in real time, instead of putting it on paper, this person could put that information directly into the mobile application, which automatically then uploads that data into the backend system. So one, they are saving paper. Two, they are also saving, let's say, the time of the technician to first put it on paper, and then somebody then takes that information and uploads that into the backend. And if there are issues in data, if there are errors in something that was written and not easily understood by the other person, there might also be accuracy issues, right? So then the maintenance person is then called, then asked, hey, what did you write here? So all these kind of manual inefficient processes are completely gone away by kind of having a mobile application in the hands of the technician when they visit these factories, right? Now, it might seem to be very, very intuitive that, hey, this is so easy, but see the amount of difference that it made at a company like PIFPAF Alimentos. Now, this already is a very strong use case. Now, why did I say this is one of my favorites? This is because how are they able to build this in 3 weeks within their IT team is they just followed a discovery center mission that you saw in the previous screen, tried it out in the POC, and the same POC was then given to these technicians for a minimum viable product scope checking. And now they have built so much confidence, and they have then over time, over the MVP period, they were able to go live within just 3 weeks by following the Discovery Center mission as well. I just want to also call out that these missions in this way can also give you a very good launch pad or a jump start into getting even your let's say a quick POC or a quick pilot of your business problems by building something on the business technology platform. So that's why it is a great and one of my favorite customer stories that has come out on the recent times on, let's say, the no code, low code, and also the, let's say, the build apps portfolio. Going to the second one, which is the automation pillar, right? The automation pillar, like I called out, is primarily driven by a product called SAP Build Process Automation. Right now, as I already mentioned in the first half of the session, the current business process automation is actually a conglomeration of two different kinds of capabilities. One is process management or workflow kind of capabilities, and the other is the robotic process automation or RPA capabilities. So you see on the screen here, you have forms for approval, you have decisions, you have actions to connect to, let's say, third-party endpoints. You have bots that you can then have automations. You can have visibility by creating process visibility KPIs and dashboards. So this is a holistic process automation solution, which is catering to optimizing your business processes or automating stuff, which is kind of tedious, right? So you will anyway get into the details in the deep dives. But when you look at the common kind of use cases, right? Let's look at the two different kind of capabilities, let's say individually, right? The first one is what I call the process management or the workflow kind of capabilities. Here, we see that there are three different kind of typical use cases that are there. Let's say one, there are manual workflows. Like, for example, there is something that is paper-based or email-based. Somebody sends you an email, then somebody looks at that email, does a particular action, uploads that somewhere, sends a mail to another person for approval. So it's a kind of a semi-automated or a completely manual process, which can then be completely digitized using build process automation. This is one common use case. Second one, there is already a process, but you kind of need to build a flavor for your department or for your, let's say, location or for your particular, let's say, job function, right? So an extension of an existing process is also a possibility, like how you see here, Task Networks, which is based out of Australia. They extended their SAP ERP, let's say, asset inspection process by creating a new workflow process automation application on top of BTP. Now, the third one is also very, very important. Many of the times you might have processes which are fully automated, but only within the scope of one particular application, right? Like even for SAP, if you look at it, there might be a process which is fully automated within S/4HANA Cloud. There might be a process which is fully automated within SuccessFactors. Now, when you as a company or a customer run your business, of course, your business processes run across these applications, right? So how can you then connect these processes and automate a comprehensive cross-application workflow by bringing the existing, let's say, application-specific automations also together, but building a end-to-end scenario using process automation is something also is a very common use case that we see our customers and partners also starting to excuse me, build on top. For example, let me go back. Toyota, like you see here, based out of Japan, of course, we all know, created end-to-end order-to-cash and source-to-pay processes by kind of going beyond application boundaries, not even within SAP, but also going towards third-party systems as well. And not to worry, if any of these stories interests you, there is a link in each of these where you have details on where you can read more about the story as well. Now, coming from the workflow part of the picture into the automation part of the picture, right? If you now look at automations, what can you automate? One, there are manual tasks, manual kind of data entry tasks. There are some data that you always maintain or people in your company always maintain into an Excel. How are you then putting the data into, let's say, your backend system? That could be a very manual kind of a repetitive task that you kind of do every week or every month. So this is a very good candidate for building an automation bot on top, which can read from Excel, put it into your system, excuse me, at the end of the day. That is one common use case that we see our automation customers use. Second one, what we call as lights out automation. There's a huge mass of data that is coming in. Maybe at the end of let's say every quarter, you get data from a lot of your subsidiaries, a lot of your franchisees together. You are then kind of taking all of this data in the same format and putting that into your backend system for, let's say, 1,000 lines within one day, right? Now, this is a very, very intensive task, which what we call as lights out automation could then help out, wherein it is a repetitive task. It is very, very easy to kind of do it, but it is very, very high volume. So these are also very clear indicators, and our customers are also using this. It's a common use case where lights out automation is also built using the SAP build process automation kind of capabilities. Third one is what we call as automating where there are no APIs, right? There might be certain systems, due to legacy reasons, due to whatever reasons, they might not actually expose APIs for you to consume within a process. Now, process automation, the RPA part of the puzzle, as you all already know, the RPA puzzle also have UI kind of capabilities where it can mimic what an actual person is also doing via a bot, right? So utilizing those capabilities, some customers like, let's say, the Singa estate based out of Sri Lanka, they are also mapping the data that is coming in from disparate systems and also from systems where there are no existing APIs to collaborate with, by mimicking user actions on the UI. So this is also one common use case where we see the SAP build process automation, the automation bot side of the house kind of coming into the picture. Now, like we said, we have been running our businesses for n number of years, right? 50 years, 60 years, 70 years. And there might be some processes that have been running due to legacy reasons for whatever is the case. So one big part of the business technology platform, which Rajiv also touched upon in the overview session, I believe, is what we call the B in BTP. The B in BTP is the business aspect of it, or the content aspect of it, right? So even within our cloud application portfolio, we kind of give pre-delivered content of bot content, which can already help you optimize and automate a lot of your tasks. Like, for example, within S4HANA Cloud, you can automate processes which can empower your finance professionals, right? How can you do that? There is, let's say, an endpoint in S4HANA where you have let's say created a communication agreement between BTP. So you have then a bot which is running on the business technology platform, the SAP build process automation bot, where you can build all of the, let's say, the capabilities that you have to do, like automating something or creating an approval flow or creating, let's say, a process extension using the build process automation, and then work with the backend system in an attended or a non-attended mode. That execution can happen in a separate execution agent, which is maybe a laptop or a specific system which you have notified for your automation purposes, right? So like this, there are a lot of already existing processes within our LOB solutions. And what we do as a best practice, apart from also giving out some of the bots and the content, we also already call out some of the opportunity areas and use case examples in our very prominently also in our documentation and in our sap.com pages as well, right? I have linked a couple of those, like from the finance domain and the human resources domain, what kind of automation examples or opportunities that are already available, which you can then utilize using the SAP build process automation as a capability on top of the business technology platform, right? Let's get into a concrete use case, which is very, very close to home, at least for me. This is Meet Prestige Constructions, based out of Bangalore. There, as the name indicates, they are heavily into engineering and construction of properties, a lot of apartments, a lot of commercial properties across, not just across Bangalore, across India, is actually owned by the Prestige Group. Now, they created for themselves a very ambitious expansion plan that they will increase their revenue 5-fold by 2025. This happened in sometime during the COVID time, right? They said that we should do this by 2025. And for this, one of the problem statements that I also internally found out was that they had a very disparate software or a IT landscape. Now they said, let me go with a single vendor IT landscape. And because they were very, very heavy on SAP application portfolio already, like they had our CX portfolio with SAP Service Cloud, they had the SAP SuccessFactors solution already available. They also chose to go with us for the Rise with SAP or Rise with S4HANA option as well, which also like how maybe I don't know if Rajiv indicated, Rise also comes with already the business technology platform credits out of the box. So business technology platform is already part of the Rise with SAP picture or the offering that is coming out of SAP. So they chose to do this, and they really went for what is called as an ambitious digital transformation into a single vendor IT landscape, right? Now, with this unified foundation powered by the SAP S4HANA Public Cloud Private Edition, they now had a very clear cloud-based scalable ERP. Then now they started looking at how can we optimize some of the stuff that we are doing in the past, right? A big part of this puzzle was grievance management. When, let's say, there is an upcoming EMI that needs to be done, that needs to be paid, or an upcoming payment that needs to be made for the next slab that is going to be built in the apartment that is coming up, which you have bought. So all of this kind of communication with the customer, with the end customer, like how can they look at what is their account statement, what is the payment that they have to make for the next installment of the apartment, and then if something is missing or they can't find a document, if they can raise a grievance, how can they reach out to, do they call out to a particular person? So a lot of that grievance management and communication management with the customer, end customer, was fully manual, right? Now, what they did is, along with the move to, let's say, a totally new digital foundation with S4HANA, they also went and started looking at the build process automation. And they now have 100%, let's say, online experience for grievance management with a cloud portal built on top of the business technology platform. And via that cloud portal, they have deployed unattended bots, which can then do this mundane task of asking the customer, what is your customer ID? What is your application ID? Whatever is the identifier, going back to their backend system, getting a statement of their account, telling them how much they have to pay, and pointing them to the link where they can make the payment. So the payment also becomes online. So via the portal and the combination of this unattended bot, they now have the entire communication with the customer fully optimized and automated. So this is a great example, although it is going beyond the automation boundaries, specifically looking at the automation part of the picture, how you can really reimagine some of your existing business processes via the automation capabilities on how you can optimize it and how you can automate it. Because, like I always keep telling to all the customers I talk to, IT is not the primary business of Prestige. Although Prestige might have an IT team to build their application, that is not their primary business. If they can really do some of these mundane activities using bots, the people in their IT team can rather focus on building some innovative applications which can help the business to grow better, right? That is the focus of optimization and automation. The next
Manju,
pillar.
before you go to the next one,
Yes,
there was a question on the chat regarding build.
Yes,
so
please.
the question was whether this is part of the free offering as well. So is build app service, SAP build app service, part of the free tier?
There is a free tier offering. I will also go back into the Discovery Center and clearly indicate it to you, right? There is an offering, like let's say a sandbox kind of an offering that you can utilize. I will then indicate it to you as well. Let's also currently park that question, right? I'll also indicate this directly back into the Discovery Center. But thanks for that question.
Okay.
Anyway. Okay, let's go back to the connect and simplify part of the picture. The connect and simplify is driven by our product, which is our go-to solution on the cloud for integration, which is the SAP Integration Suite, right? The SAP Integration Suite, like how you see on the screen, is catering to different kinds of integration. if you are coming in from the NetWeaver side of, or the side of the house, which you are already using PI and PO, it is very similar. It is kind of like like an evolution of this particular picture. If I go back to, let's say, a Pokemon reference, that was the first generation. This is the nth generation, right? Because the PIPO was primarily catering to the process integration side of the picture, which is anyway taken care of by the cloud integration part here. But there is also API-led integration with API management, third-party integration with open connectors. Then there is event-led integration with event mesh. So a lot of this you will also hear in the integration deep dive, but not just like, let's say, providing different kinds of integration. We also have capabilities which, if you are coming in from, let's say, the on-premises side, the PIPO side of the house, we also have migration capabilities in the SAP integration suite to take you from PIPO into the SAP integration suite as well, by kind of going through some part of automated migration and some best practices that you can then follow to move most of your content from PIPO into the integration suite as well. Now, if you're saying that, hey, I don't have integration, but I don't have a clear integration, I have many different, let's say, vendors or offerings coming in from different vendors who I'm using for integration. I don't have one common integration foundation. And if you're looking to build something like that, that could also be a case where you could utilize what we call ISAM, the SAP Integrate Solution Advisory methodology, where you can look at what are the exact integration needs that you have, what are the common use cases that you need to cater to, what are the kind of deployment models that you want to look at, and arrive at how you can utilize the SAP integration suite to the best, what kind of capabilities you will require to have a kind of a singular iPaaS or a integration platform as a service as the foundation middleware for your entire, entire enterprise, right? So this is also a capability that is there in integration. You will get to know more about it also in the deep dive. Now, one very common use case, which brings together many of the capabilities of the SAP integration suite, is what I like to call the enterprise collaboration, right? We always say that, hey, what does anybody understand by API-led integration? What is an API? An API is anything that lets you access some kind of a backend resource and do some actions on top of it, whether retrieve data, push that data, or kind of update the data or anything like that, right? That is as simplified as that. But look at this API-led integration reference architecture, wherein you have the API management capability within the SAP integration suite via a simple OData API, talking to all the cloud applications of SAP, right? Talking to non-SAP applications via our open connectors portfolio, right? Talking to your existing on-premises systems or your something that is running behind your firewall via the cloud connector or the reverse proxy which you deploy it within your DMC. And just think about the power of bringing all of this kind of APIs into one kind of a solution and either directly exposing it for your customers or your partners or your, let's say, ecosystem to build innovations on top, or first already using these APIs consistently via the API management within your products and microservices. This is a clear example of how you can harmonize the entire integration landscape by utilizing different kind of capabilities within the SAP integration suite and then exposing it via the API management for it to be innovated on top of, right? It's a great example of that. I would also encourage you to kind of go to the Discovery Center mission and also try this thing out if you're interested. Now, a concrete example of somebody who did this is Żabka. Żabka, maybe not many of us might have heard of it. It is one of the biggest retail or grocery chains out of Poland, right? They have almost 8,900 or 9,000 plus stores, which means that they work with thousands of franchisees who are kind of running a Żabka chain. And they cater to groceries, they cater to like our, let's say, the currency management as well, like sending currencies, banking, little bit of banking. They also do, let's say, food delivery. So they're a big retail chain having a lot of different kinds of capabilities and service offerings that they provide. And because they kind of work with many different or thousands of different types of franchisees, their franchisee relationship management is completely fragmented. Some of them own kind of a software to do cater to what all the business that they have done as a franchisee, and they use one particular format to send the data back to Japka. Some of them might even be doing a paper-based let's say inventory of how the franchisee is doing. So a lot of, let's say, data or how the franchisees is doing, or the relationship between Japka as the chain itself and the franchises and the franchisees who are running the actual stores was becoming very, very fragmented. And second problem is they also have a very big growth plan where every day they want to kind of onboard 5 different stores via a franchisee, right? So they are growing very, very quickly within Poland and also getting into surrounding countries as well. So which means they also required a single source of let's say truth, and kind of having to get this information from different franchisees was becoming a major problem for Japka to kind of take a let's say decision on their own. And to give you also some insight into their landscape, they were already utilizing the SAP S/4HANA retail for let's say merchandise management, like their let's say for communication as the backend for their franchisees to kind of communicate with, right? They did not have a single integration middleware or a foundation that they could utilize, and also have a means of harmonizing the different kind of data that they are receiving from their franchisees and exposing it to their IT teams to build a solution which gives a consistent view of how their franchisees are doing. Now, what they did is they took a very bold step, and then they said, we will go with SAP Integration Suite, and that became the foundation for, let's say, their entire integration landscape, not only within SAP, but also with third parties, their franchisees, their suppliers, all of this whole picture. And they also started a very great thing that they also went with our HANA portfolio, the SAP HANA Cloud, and exposed APIs of on top of this HANA via the API management offering of Integration Suite as well, so that people who want to push in mass data together, right? They also have a separate API and don't need to go via the regular APIs, which is kind of available for their application and innovation framework as well. So as you see, you can also have the flexibility to choose based on the use case, what kind of APIs and what kind of backends you might want to expose, and with what kind of capabilities like rate limiting and monetizing these KPIs for your partners. So all these decisions could be made if you have a singular integration foundation, which now Japka has with the SAP Integration Suite. And now you see a very, very highlight of this use case is they used to print 100,000 documents on a daily basis to kind of have a view of how the company is doing, how the franchisees are doing, how the inventory is, and a lot of the stuff. And because now they have built a solution which can kind of bring data from all of these different cases, like the point of sales, like the franchisees, and expose APIs on top of which they've already built IT solutions on top, the number of documents that they now print on a daily basis is close to zero. Now, that's a great step, not only for Japka as a company, but also for them as a, let's say, a CSR or a sustainability initiative, and also for all of us, because any kind of a contribution on these lines where we are saving paper is also a great thing for planet Earth on the whole, right? That's a very powerful use case of kind of having a harmonized single integration middleware, which kind of takes care of utilizing the different kinds of capabilities to harmonize the integration with the different landscape or the enterprises or your entities that you talk to within your enterprise, right? Let's go to give data purpose. That's a great line that I always love. Having data is of no use. You should give it purpose by kind of finding patterns, finding insights using the data. Otherwise, just having or storing a lot of data for the last 20 years, last 50 years has no meaning, right? We all know and we all appreciate that. The data and analytics portfolio on BTP has various different kinds of products, basically to name it four. One, the SAP HANA Cloud, which is a database kind of a solution. The SAP Data Sphere, which is the data management solution, and also a foundation for what we call the business data fabric. And then there is the SAP Analytics Cloud solution, which is the BI, the analytical reporting, and the planning kind of a solution, right? Apart from that, there is also the master data governance solution, which is also for master data exchange and putting in compliance and the data quality, data governance aspects on top of master data as well. So you will get more details when you actually deep dive into the data and analytics portfolio. But a very common use case that we are now finding in the data and analytics portfolio of the SAP Business Technology Platform is what you see here as a data federation to third parties, right? It is a given that very few of our customers, including you, many of you who are in the call here, are pure play SAP houses, right? Even though you might have applications that are running on SAP, you might be having data that is coming in from different sources, maybe even partner data, machine data, like IoT data. You might have geolocation data, different kinds of data, right? Every single entity, every single machine, every single person, every single company that we are interacting with on a daily basis is creating data. Now, how can you get all of this data into a particular system without having to move all of this is one of the major use cases that we are currently seeing with the data federation kind of an aspect, right? Now, like I told you, SAP Data Sphere is becoming the foundation of the business data warehouse on the cloud for us. And what this means is we know that if you are running your businesses and your companies on ERP solutions, or let's say the what we can call the core of your company is running on SAP, then a lot of your business context is coming in from your SAP side of the house. Now, what many of our customers actually try to do is they try to take data out of this SAP landscape and try to put it into, let's say, a hyperscaler data lake, and then also utilize the data that is coming in from non-SAP sources, and then try to build, let's say, an analytical solution. Can you do this? Of course you can do this. But is it advisable to do this? For me, not. Because all of the business context that we are somehow trying to bring in from the SAP side of the house is automatically lost when you take data out of the SAP ecosystem and put it into a third party, or let's say an external data lake. What this means is you will have to create the context, maybe not all the context, but at least the context that you require for your analytical reporting, again in this data lake by bringing in the non-SAP data sources. Now, what if you can have the data where it is, the SAP data in the SAP ecosystem, the non-SAP data in the non-SAP sources that you have, but have a mechanism like the SAP Data Sphere where you can federate the data, and with this federated data, also build models on top, build ML applications like FedML on top, and then utilize these models to build analytical solutions, planning solutions via the SAP Analytics Cloud. This is a very common use case of, let's say, having a complete single source of truth without having to actually move data around. Because every time you move data, cost increases because your storage costs are doubled and duplicated, right? This is also very, very important. So a federation use case wherein the context is maintained and also somehow has a means of connecting to third party or non-SAP data and getting that information back into SAP and contextualizing it along with your regular business data and building insights on top of it is a great use case to have, right? One concrete example, which is coming in from Messer. It's an oil and gas company based out of USA in New Jersey, right? They have a very very similar use case like many of us, right? They have a lot of data that is coming in, even from their drilling machines, even from their gas valves and all of this stuff. And people and technicians are generating data. There is corporate data that is coming on. There is business data that is coming on. There is supplier data. There is inventory data. All of this data might be coming in one or the other form. So they then said, I don't really have a single source of truth on which my company or my leadership can take a call on how do I change my business, what are the new innovations that I have, what kind of changes that I have to do. I don't have a data-driven view of running my business. So for this, they said, reached out to SAP and they said, hey, SAP, what if you help us in kind of building this one single source of truth, right? So we then kind of with the same recommendation, encourage them to try out the SAP DataSphere and the SAP Analytics Cloud solution, wherein the DataSphere then became like a warehouse solution on the cloud by connecting to non-SAP data and the SAP data together, and also providing you with easy self-service modeling capabilities, which can be done not really by analytical experts who need to code and script, but also with a clear, easy drag and drop of modeling capabilities on entities which our business guys anyway know, right? So these kind of self-service modeling capabilities, self-service analytical report creating capabilities coming out of SAP DataSphere and the Analytics Cloud together, becoming the single source of data and single visualization of analytical insight information, or even in the future, maybe planning information, was a great use case. And it's a use case that we've also seen over time. Many of our customers, this is also one of the latest, but many of our customers also go with this approach of building one single business source of truth via the business data fabric based on SAP's BTP's data and analytics portfolio. Right, let's touch on the last pillar, that is infusing intelligence or artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is on everyone's mind, right? Now, we don't really have one product for the artificial intelligence out of the box. We have basically 3 levels with which we provide or infuse intelligence into. Our most preferred way of infusing intelligence is to not put the burden on you, our customers. We say, we know how business processes work. We know where some intelligence might help. And we already infuse these AI and ML kind of capabilities into these business processes out of the box, so that you use an intelligent service already out of the box and not really have to build this intelligence on top. So that is our preferred model. And there you see some of the on top, these kind of capabilities here, where AI is already embedded into business SAP applications that are already available to you out of the box. Now, for some of the people who say, no, give me the building blocks, I want to build an application on top, we also provide you with what are called as AI business services. Now, which means that they are already contextualized within a business process, not a direct AI that you have to then figure out how to use, but they are for a specific usage, right? Like data attribute recommendation, as the name indicates, can recommend the right data attributes when you're doing mappings or kind of bringing things together. Data document information extraction, as the name indicates, extracts the exact information that you have asked the service to kind of get from any of the models that or the documents that are coming into your application. Personalized recommendation will also looking at your history and how you have been interacting with the, let's say, the web or the particular website or your application, can give you recommendations of what you might be interested in. Think of the Amazons, what you might be interested in as well, right? So this is the other part of the puzzle. Of course, for the people who say, no, I have a AI model who have built on my own, or I have GPT with OpenAI that is available, can I bring that into business technology platform and then build something on the GPT-4 AI algorithm? Of course, that is possible with the lowest rung that is there, the AI Core and AI Launchpad products. This will also be a possibility where you can bring your own ML or AI models, deploy it, or kind of connect it via the AI Core, expose the AI APIs, and build an application on top, right? A very concrete use case of, let's say, AI business service is the personalized recommendations, right? The service itself has an upload service so that you can put in data based of the history of the particular consumer that you are talking about. There is a training service wherein you can do processing of the data going forward so that the model becomes more and more efficient. There is also the inference service, which is then also the actual recommendation that is coming out of the picture, and you can then also utilize these recommendations directly within an application to provide personal recommendations. So this is a very, very common use case wherein AI business services are embedded by our customers and partners into an application that they are building for a specific purpose, right? One such example is Telefonica. Telefonica is a major telecom provider based out of Spain, Europe, right? When all the people, of course, now I am also connected to this meeting from my home. Many of you might also be connected from your home or maybe from your offices, right? The whole pandemic kind of brought out the question about future of work, right? So what this means is people really need the flexibility to be productive, to also care for things like their health, for their families, for their other, let's say, commitments that they might have. So all of this kind of brought in a new paradigm of looking at things, right? Similar situation was also catered to, or was also faced by Telefonica, where they saw that a different kind of skills would be required within their workforce to reskill themselves and adapt to this new mode of, let's say, online offline working, right? Now, how could they come up with this reskilling platform is they clearly went into, of course, the different skilling opportunities and the skilling, let's say, learning courses and all were already there. But how could we make it more catered to the actual needs of the end user, in this case, their employees? So they built a solution on top of BTP, which is called the reskilling program or the upskilling program, which already embedded this personalized recommendation. So based on whatever they are already currently utilizing or using or kind of showing interest in, the skilling courses and skilling capabilities and skilling paths are automatically recommended to them so that they can then take it with the help of their management and get the right skills to work in this new mode of working, right? So that's a great solution that has been built on top of BTP by Telefonica using AI embedded into a new reskilling solution for their workforce, right? Now, we looked at Iron Man, we looked at Thor, we looked at, let's say, Black Panther and all of this stuff. We looked at their powers. How have they been fighting the different business problems that our customers have been having with examples? Now you might think, hey, Manju, you have been telling me build, you have been telling me integration suite, HANA Cloud and all of that. What exactly is BTP then that we have been all been seeing, right? So BTP is, if I can equate it to the superhero paradigm that I've been talking, if application development is Iron Man, integration is Thor, and a Spider-Man is, let's say, our artificial intelligence, then BTP is actually the Avengers, right? Which means that all of these different superpowers kind of come together to solve a rather larger problem or an entire business problem for our customers, right? That's the best way that I can think of to kind of contextualize what BTP means and what the value and the power of BTP comes in when you look at these individual pillars and then coming in together. Now, what this also means is, hey, you've always been talking about Marvel. Are you not interested in, let's say, something like DC? Are you not a fan of Superman, if you ask me? Of course, I'm a fan of Superman. And with the same paradigm, our BTP is also built with the paradigm of openness. What that means is we are a multi-cloud platform. We are deployed on hyperscaler infrastructures like Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, Alibaba for Chinese customers, and of course, some of our own SAP data centers. And on top of that, we also make it open for our customers and partners to consume services from the partners. Like if you are interested in a particular AI service, you're particularly interested in a particular data management solution, a particular notification solution. Can you utilize all of this and then bring it together with the capabilities of SAP BTP and then build a solution on top. Of course, this is possible as a multi-cloud platform. These kind of reference architectures is also something that we openly indicate. And I want to bring out just 2 examples just to kind of bring that sense into your mind. There are many more. One is something as simple as productivity, right? Like, for example, I have an S/4HANA cloud system and I'm creating a purchase requisition, right? What if I don't have a notification of a purchase requisition created in, let's say, a workflow service, which I don't open in my inbox, but I am rather all the time on my Google chat, talking to my friends, my colleagues. What if I can get a notification of such a purchase requisition created when it got created into my Google chat? Now, this kind of an integration is also possible via this kind of a reference architecture that is there, wherein we out of the box can support an integration into the Google workspaces, the chat and the meet. A clear example, which I can also voice through, that you can also see on the screen here, is something like this, right? So you have, one second, you have a solution that is running here. So you have this purchase requisition. I'm in the purchase requisition field of the house. So I just copy an existing purchase requisition, create a new purchase requisition. If I want to kind of add some details or change a particular data, I change it. The moment I create it, right, there is an event that is getting generated, which is then read by the event capabilities of the SAP integration suite, and the information of this newly created purchase requisition is automatically pushed into the Google workspaces. Now, if you see here, I can see, and I can also take actions. I'm not just notified, I can also take actions, which means to say the moment you create approve request here, or the approver clicks the approve request here, you can go back to your S4 solution and also see that if you just do a refresh, you're able to see that the action was actually propagated back to your backend system, right? So think of the efficiency. You're catering to the exact need of your end customer, because you're not forcing him to go to one or the other tool because of your architecture, but you're openly connecting to the ones or the tools that the customer or the employees are already used to. So this is a great example of how a hyperscaler or a multi-cloud architecture on BTP with its openness can also be looked at. Another one, which is also
Manju, we have 5 minutes left, so I just wanted to be cognizant of time. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Rajiv. Okay. Last point about this, the generative AI is because this is also very, very on top of mind for a lot of our customers who are trying to build generative AI and how it can work. This is a great example of how you can have a GPT model running on Microsoft Azure via the OpenAI, and how we saw via the SAP AI Core. You can expose the APIs via the API core and utilize it within an application that is running on BTP and create something as cool as this, right? So this is a great example of a mobile-based React application, which is then giving our customers a view on what is their carbon footprint, what are their expenses, and what are the challenges that they can take up to kind of minimize their, let's say, the carbon footprint and their contribution back to the environment. It can also give you suggestions, like if you something that you look like, if I say summarize, I can get a summary of where all is my carbon footprint, how many is by my food items, how many is by my purchases, how many is by the vehicles that I drive, and stuff like that, right? So I can then also have a very clear view on how I can optimize and become better and reduce my carbon footprint. So you can see generative AI can be plugged into each of these screens to become to kind of give you suggestions and make it a much more intelligent solution out of the box. That is a very great use case as well. Now, think of BTP like how I said, not as individual superheroes or as a single tool, but as a toolkit or Avengers, which can create a lot of these, which can solve a broader variety of problems. I will not get into the cross-platform use cases much more, but I just want to also quickly take you through. You saw that Rajiv also called about some of the landscape transformations that you can do on specific aspects, like how you write code, how you write integration, how you talk to data, how you plan and analyze. But you can also do innovations across a business process. Like, for example, if you're running across source to pay and you're running across different SAP solutions and third-party solutions, here is a great example which you can obviously take a look into and try to understand how the individual capabilities can solve business problems for our customers and partners, that is you, across a particular business process. So this is how, as Avengers, they can come in and do and cater to specific problems that you have across a business process that is running in your company, and the whole process then becomes a very intelligent, sustainable process as well, right? Hitachi High-Tech was one thing, but I just want to leave you with one big example of the city of Hamburg. When COVID hit, one of the biggest things that were hit were people who are doing cultural activities, like the opera singers, like the actors, the theater artists, and all of that stuff. So the German government told the city of Hamburg, the IT department of that city, to say, why don't you build an application wherein these cultural activists can actually put across the requirements of where they need money on the daily basis for their expenses, because they are not having all of these theaters and all running. Can they ask for the exact amount of money via that application? Then I can validate that they are the right people, they are asking for the right purposes, and then I can also dispense back the government funded, what I can say, what is it called, the support that is provided by the central government, so that they can survive during this time of a pandemic, right? So if you see here, you see many pieces of, let's say, the data and analytics portfolio, the integration portfolio, AI business portfolio, application development portfolio, analytical portfolio. All of these different kinds of capabilities came together to solve and create a great tool, which then solved a real world problem for our customers. If you're interested, this is a very great example. It is also linked here. You can also take a look at it. And I would then also want to just leave you with this view of the different kinds of services, and which I anyway touched upon. So like how you see, we saw that individually, there are many superpowers that every pillar of BTP already caters to. You saw with the different use cases, but also when you look at BTP as the umbrella or the Avengers of this case, you can bring different pieces of the puzzle together and build cross-platform use cases, and also get things from the hyperscaler and build something which is cross-cutting your entire concerns or your entire enterprise landscape to solve real-world business problems. So hopefully, I have been able to kind of inspire or kind of bring some thoughts into your mind of how BTP and the different capabilities can be used under the hood. This will definitely be useful as you get into the deep dives in the next sessions. And if you're then also interested to work with us, build POCs and try to then scale it within your own organizations as well. Before I sign off, I just want to leave you with just 2 words. Always think in your journey of BTP, what if, right? What if I can do this thing better? And then come to us. We are here to help you make it a reality. Thank you. Mukesh, back to you. Sorry, Rajiv.
Thank you so much for taking us through all these case studies and all these technology options available, and put it in the context of superheroes. I truly believe that this is something that helps people remember this as well. So I know that we are 2 minutes beyond our time that we had. Rajiv, maybe if you want to put the Menti link on the chat, so people who are already on the call, maybe, yeah. So if you can just provide us your feedback, that will be great as well. And if you need to leave, we are good with that as well. So I'll just stay on for maybe another 5 minutes. In case someone has any question, put up your hand and, yeah,
I'm here as well. If you want to call out the questions as well, I'm here, but otherwise.
Yeah. So if you are already on the call and you want to leave, that's okay as well. Please do provide feedback on menti.com so that the next session can be better. So the next part of the series of activities that we are doing on this is to do a deep dive in 5 or 6 sessions. So we will continue to do the same timing, which is Fridays, 9:30 in the morning. The next one is going to be about how do you set up your BTP instance so that you can start playing around with it. So if you have people in your team who need to be set up, that's the next session. That's a good session to attend. And then we will go deep into each one of the 5 pillars that Manju spoke about.
I think Reshma's question around SAP Build Free tier, maybe you can take that.
Just showing. I just switched to the Discovery Center, so you can automatically come here, and for any of these services, because I just wanted to give a generic solution where everybody can also look at it. So just come to Discovery Center, the services view, get into application development and automation. The moment you get into it, you see build apps, and you see that there is a free tier that is available for the build apps. So you can get into it and then also try to understand how you can utilize it. There is also a sandbox that I also indicated here. That I called out. You can also try this out, Reshma. So definitely go to Discovery Center.
Can you just also click on pricing?
Yep.
Can you just click on pricing? Yeah. So this is something that customers can actually look at.
Exactly.
The entire information around pricing and how it is priced beyond, if you go beyond your free tier, is also mentioned here. So in case you want to calculate.
Rajiv, I don't know if you already pasted it, but I'm just pasting the link of the Discovery Center so that you can utilize it.
Yeah, so the links will also be available on the slides that you will receive shortly. The session is already recorded and available on the Indus YouTube channel. So I will also send a follow-up email with the link to the recording. And the slides will have links to all the different stories that Manju spoke about. If there is a particular story that you like, you can click on read more, and you can actually go deeper into what the customer actually did from a technical architecture perspective as well. So I hope you found that the session was useful, helpful, and yeah.
And in case there are questions, we will anyway be on this journey, always be available to you, either via Mukesh. Please let us know at any point in time. Happy to support you in any way we can. If not, have a good Friday and have a good start to the weekend.
So, Rajiv, can you put the link on the chat box as well so that people can actually click and provide feedback? Yeah. So menti.com and 48897382 is the code. Thanks, Reshma, for your kind words. Thanks, Anand. Thanks, Nitin. So I'll just wait for maybe 2 more minutes if in case there are any questions, and then we can. I'll stop the recording meanwhile.